Hi. So as Carol said, I am in charge of keeping the data flowing smoothly. And part of that process for us is using CataList. Now, we at Anansi have been using CataList for almost 3 years now. And a few seasons ago, we actually used CataList instead of print catalogs. We said, no more print catalogs. Now, we're not doing that anymore. And if you'd like to know why, we can talk about that afterward. But it worked. It really did work. We used CataList in such a way. Sorry, I just realized that my notes appear to be missing here. I think you can get me my notes back. Sorry. I apologize. We were using CataList in lieu of print catalogs. It worked for us. It did. It was not the easiest thing in the world to get running, but they're around there somewhere. Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I can scroll them. It's totally fine. And what we learned from that process, again, print CataList instead of print catalogs, is that CataList is a great tool. It's really robust in its functionality, and a CataList catalog page is going to look great right out of the gate, right? It's going to be fine. It's not perfect, and with a little tweaking, you can make it look really, really, really great instead of just sort of great. To do that, though, is sort of a two-step addition to your workflow. Both of those steps get broken down into several smaller steps, but at its core, it's just 2 extra steps. The first is data, right? So that would be the process of creating that data, of getting it into your system, and of uploading it to BiblioShare. And the second is the prettifying step. So that's the process of going into CataList and making it look really, really gorgeous. So we're going to start with step 1. I do have a question before we get too far into this. Who among you actually handles your data, your bibliographic metadata? Okay, a couple of people, not too many, but some. And for those few hands, do you look at your ONIX files, or are you using the web form? ONIX files? Couple here and there? Okay, so either way, whether you're using the web form or whether you're using ONIX files, whether you're handling it or not, you have lots of it, right? Lots and lots of data, just waves of data. ONIX can hold a lot of data, BiblioShare can take all of that data, and BiblioShare can disseminate all of that data, and that's a really good thing, right? You want your buyers and your sales teams, your customers, you want them to know all of the wonderful things that you know about all of your wonderful books. But what that means is that that data, slides through BiblioShare and it gets all in there, and now your CataList pages look really cluttered and kind of busy, and there's a lot going on, and maybe it's just a wave of data coming at you. Thankfully, CataList does make it easy to fix this. For now, though, and this is what we learned actually in the process, is that send everything you have. Even if you don't think you're going to want it, send it. It's better to have it there and not use it than to not have it. So send every piece of data that you have, even if it means you're going to end up with pages that look kind of like this, right? And I mean, as you can see from that scroll bar there, that just keeps on going. And yes, all books should be so lucky as to have this much great information about them, but it's hard to parse what you're looking at here with all of this information in front of you. And that's sort of one of the first things that we learned in trying to make this a viable solution for a print catalog, is that you have all of this information, and then your reps go to print it out on PDF, and they just have this mess of PDF that's totally meaningless to them. So there's a couple of things that you can do about this. CataList does make it easy to clean this up and make it totally print ready and looking good. The first things, though, is that you want to ask yourself, where is all this data coming from? You know it's coming from your ONIX feed, but how? Thankfully, CataList provides this, and this was the most useful tool that I had in making CataList into a solution for print. This is the ONIX to CataList map. This is not the entirety of it. If I showed you the entirety of it, we would be here all afternoon, and I would enjoy myself, but you maybe would not. So this is just the tiniest smidgen of it. There's a couple of important things you want to look at when you're looking at this. The first is your ONIX reference. Now that's, for those of you who are handling ONIX files, that might mean something to you. That's where in the ONIX file you are going to find the piece of information that you're looking at on your CataList page. If that number means nothing to you and you'd like it to mean something to you, please feel free to come talk to me afterward and I will point it out. But for now, that's where you're going to find it in your ONIX file. That's what the piece of information is going to look like. So you see that third edition revised with an introduction and notes on your CataList page, and you know that it's coming from pr.10.4 in your ONIX file. Cool. This, though, this is the most important thing that you want in using your CataList as a really great solution for a catalog, whether or not you can edit it in CataList, right? These are all no's. I promise you that there are some yeses. Just this particular selection happens to be no's, and I'm sorry. This means that once this is in CataList, you cannot edit it from that lovely CataList backend. You really do have to do it in your ONIX file or in BiblioShare from the originating point of the data. So if you don't want that to say third edition revised with an introduction and notes, if you want that to say third edition with a forward, you got to change it in your ONIX file. So this ONIX to CataList map, which you can find at this extremely long URL. It's also just in the help document. If you feel like writing this down, please feel free, but you can find it on your own, I'm sure. It's so important if you want to make your CataList as beautiful as possible to familiarize yourself with this document. I know it's not pretty. I know it looks like there's going to be a lot, and there is. But learning what you can change in the back of CataList makes it so much easier to tell people what your pages can look like, makes it so much easier to send data that's going to look good. The other really interesting thing about familiarizing yourself with this document, another good reason as to why you should do it, I support this document wholeheartedly, you may have noticed, is you look at it and suddenly you realize all the options that are available in CataList. You can see this display column, whether or not it displays, and you go, oh God, I didn't even know CataList would display forestry information. Maybe I should start sending that, right? And now all of a sudden you've got your forestry certifications up there. Your illustration notes, you know, this history novel happens to have a map in it. Now that's on CataList, that's another selling point. The more data you send, the more information people have, and it's a great thing. So yeah, check out this map. It's really great to look at. Once you're familiar with that, as we learned, you can start cleaning up the data before it even leaves, before you even send it off to BiblioShare. You can tidy up that ONIX file to make it so that when it gets to CataList, you have less poking around to do and fewer of your sales team looking at it and going, what is this? What is this that I'm looking at? It's easier. It's easier to clean it up before it goes, and then, you know, people don't get mad at you. It's important to remember, though, that what you send to BiblioShare doesn't just go to CataList. So don't remove things because you don't want them in CataList, because then they're gone. Don't do that. If you want it to go out into the world, make sure it stays there. If you don't want it to go out in the world, don't put it in there. Okay? Clear? Cool. So a couple of things you can do to your data to make it clean and pretty before it even leaves your house. Use some HTML if you can. I know that kind of looks like gobbledygook up there unless you know what you're looking at. For those of you not handling the data, and if your data people don't happen to know that you can do this, you can. It's not perfect, but it takes this gobbledygook with all your strongs and your Ps and your encoded characters and makes it look like this, which is kind of nice, right? You've got that little bolded section up there, you've got some proper em dashes, your spacing looks decent, and that just came straight out of the ONIX. I didn't have to go into the back end and edit that. And this is pretty good just as it stands. Like, we don't really have to edit this. It's looking okay already. So HTML, it works. The other thing is awards. This is something that I learned the hard way. And again, we should all be so lucky as to be able to learn this lesson the hard way. But CataList will take every bit of award that you send and stick it up there in that list. And if you don't arrange them in your ONIX file, it's going to look like that. I mean, I don't know about you, but I really feel that the Governor General's Award carries more weight than being shortlisted for the Google Play International Author Award. Maybe. So there's nothing we can do. Once this gets to CataList, there's nothing you can do about that except send a new ONIX file. So as you can see, though, they line up. See, the impact is on the top, and it's on the top, and so on and so forth. So you really can just grab the Governor General's and paste it up at the top. Don't do it if you didn't win the Governor General's. But if you did, you can grab the Governor General's and stick her up at the top there, and then she'll appear at the top, and it'll all be lined up. You can also, if your list is too long, again, should be so lucky, if your list is too long, you can delete a bunch of these from your ONIX file, and that's great, and it makes it look cleaner, but then they're gone from your ONIX file, so it's risky business. Currently, CataList has implemented, this was not the case when we were doing this for print catalogs, but currently CataList has implemented a way to organize reviews. Reviews are like this as well. They show up, all of them in the order. And currently you can order them in CataList. I have not yet been able to make that work, but that might say more about me than about the system. For now, though, I'm still doing reviews like this as well, going in and copying and pasting and reordering them. So that's awards. Send your images. It's pretty straightforward. I found that if I had to go in and upload my images afterward, it would take a little bit longer. Every now and then it would, my internet connection would die and the whole thing would go to heck, and it was just not worth it. So send them if you can. And your interiors, looks good. And then the most important thing that I learned from this whole process on the data side, give yourself the time. I mean, I know it's online, it's the internet. The internet is fast, right? You can just send some things and they'll be up there. It doesn't quite work that way. I have found that if I give myself a week to send that file and let it process through BiblioShare and let it process through CataList and then to start editing, then I've got enough time. 6 business days is enough time. Anything less than that, and I'm cutting it short. I'm wrecking things for myself. And I know that it's hard to convince people that you need time to spend time building an online catalog, but it's worth it because otherwise you'll be killing yourself at 9 p.m. some night. Don't do it.